What's up guys, my name is Brandon and today I'll be telling you everything you need to know about the brand new iPhone XS, the XS Max, and the iPhone XR. And I will also be answering the question that you're probably going to have by the end of this video, and that is which iPhone should you buy? So of course Apple held their annual September event today and they announced these three products plus the Apple Watch Series 4. So let's start with the iPhone XS, which is what Apple is calling the most advanced iPhone they've ever created. So first of all, the iPhone XS comes in a gold colorway. Finally, the gold colorway is back. It does also come in space gray and silver. And the iPhone XS has a 5.8-inch OLED Super Retina display with glass that goes edge to edge just like the iPhone X, and it is also made of the most durable glass on any smartphone ever. And of course that must mean that it is IP68 rated, which of course it is, so you can now go down up to 2 meters for 30 minutes. It's about time Apple caught up with Samsung here in the IP68 rating. And if you put the iPhone XS up side by side to the iPhone 8 Plus, you'll see that it has the same display size, but with just a smaller form factor. So you're getting that awesome big screen with just a smaller all-around phone, a much smaller all-around phone, which is going to be awesome. The dual camera setup is practically the same as the iPhone X, but it does have 60% more dynamic range, which, I don't know, maybe slightly better in real life, but it's not really too much of a difference that you're going to notice, day to day. And most of the changes done to the camera in both the still side and also the video side is thanks to the new A12 Bionic chip, which I will be talking about here in a few minutes. The iPhone XS also has a new smart HDR feature that shoots a 4-shot burst to make sure you get a good shot. And along with that, you get the option to adjust the picture's depth of field after the shot, basically the bokeh, like on DSLRs, and pretty much you get it with portrait mode as well. The bokeh in the background, you will now be able to adjust that after the picture has been taken. And Apple claimed that they were the first phone to do that, which Samsung has that. I guess they're just talking about to that measure. It's obviously going to be a lot better than it was on Samsung on Apple, just because they usually perfect things like that. So I'm really looking forward to this feature. Now I was hoping to see something higher than a 12 megapixel camera this year, but I wasn't really expecting it just because it is an S model. You can't really expect too much physical, to change, but it's wishful hoping. But of course I will be comparing this to the iPhone X, even though it's practically the same camera. I do want to compare it to the iPhone X as well as the Note 9. Now the bigger iPhone XS is called the iPhone XS Max, and it has a 6.5-inch OLED Super Retina display, and pretty much everything else about the Max is the same as the XS. Both have a pixel density of 458 ppi, a refresh rate of 120 Hz, HDR support, and thank God we have 3D touch on both the XS and the XS Max. If you guys missed my video from earlier this week about 3D touch, definitely check it out in the cards right now. All iPhones in 2019 may not come with 3D touch. Now both these models have dual SIM support, but one of the SIMs is an eSIM, so you will have to go to your carrier and set up an eSIM. However, the China models will have a true dual SIM setup. And of course, this is great if you travel to other countries often, or if you just have a personal and a business phone number, but want them attached to the same phone. And what's cool is that you can have both SIMs basically active at the same time. So whatever number is being called, whatever SIM that number is on becomes the active one once you answer that phone call. Now inside of the XS and the XS Max, we have the super powerful new A12 Bionic chip, which is Apple's next-gen chipset that is sure to perform extremely well. I cannot wait to put this thing up against the Note 9. Now Apple claims that launching applications on the new iPhone XS will be 30% faster than the iPhone X, which is really strong. The chip has a 4-core CPU and a 6-core GPU, totaling 6.9 billion transistors, which is crazy. And what's even more impressive is that it has a mixture of high and low performance cores in order to handle tasks more efficiently, with energy efficiency gains of up to 40 to 50%. And Apple says that the real star of the A12 Bionic chip is its neural engine, which has 8 cores dedicated to AI and machine learning. And I just love how invested in AI Apple is. They continue to be heavily invested in AI and machine learning. Face ID has also been improved on the XS, and that's also thanks mostly to the A12 Bionic chip. And as for the storage, the max storage on the iPhones this year have doubled from 256 gigabytes to 512 gigabytes. So you get the option of 64, 256, and 512 gigabytes for both the XS and the XS Max. I just really don't see any reason anybody would need 512 gigabytes of storage, but that's beyond me. Now, what about battery life? So for the iPhone XS, Apple is saying that you will get just 30 minutes longer than last year's iPhone X. And when I saw that on the screen, I kind of chuckled and was like, really, only 30 more minutes? But then I thought about how great my battery life is on the iPhone X, so that's still an improvement. I will take it. Now, the XS Max, on the other hand, has the biggest battery Apple has ever put in an iPhone, and it's going to get an additional hour and a half over the iPhone X. So definitely solid battery life from both, but obviously the XS Max is the most impressive when it comes to battery. Now let's talk about the pricing. So the rumor suggested pricing all over the board, but the final prices did not disappoint, and they were pretty much what the leaks said. So the iPhone XS will start at $999 for the 64 gigabyte model, $1149 for 256 gigabytes, and $1349 for 512 gigabytes. The iPhone XS Max will start at $1099 for the 64 gigabytes, $1249 for 256, 512 and $1449 for 512. So you're really only paying $100 more for the XS Max. So unless you just really hate big phones, I would get the XS Max. Both models will be available for pre-order on Friday, September 14th, and will arrive a week later on September 21st. So now let's talk about the iPhone XR, which to me is the most interesting iPhone that they announced at the event today. And we're still not sure exactly what the R stands for. They mentioned a lot about recycling. I can't imagine it's called the iPhone X recycled. Maybe reduced? I don't know. We don't really know what the R stands for in the iPhone XR. But anyways, this phone is going to come in a variety of colors. It's going to come in white, black, blue, yellow, coral, and product red. And let me just say that all of these colors look phenomenal, but the blue is definitely my favorite. Now this is a budget-friendly, cheaper iPhone, but it does give you plenty of bang for your buck. And the biggest bang for your buck definitely comes from the processor. It has the same A12 Bionic chip that the XS and the XS Max have, making it a powerhouse. It does have a 6.1-inch LCD display, which they're calling a liquid retina display, and it's the most advanced LCD ever put into a phone. Now I will say that it does have a rather weak pixel density at 326 ppi, but with a budget-friendly phone, you have to compromise somewhere. You really can't complain too much about that. And this iPhone XR does use the same iPhone X swipe gestures since it doesn't have a home button. You get Face ID, you have tap to wake, and all those great features that we saw on the iPhone X. Now one thing it doesn't have is 3D touch. It does have a new feature called haptic touch, which basically just gives you haptic feedback when long pressing. It's not really the same at all as 3D touch. And that's really sad to me because I love this phone. I know the rumor said it wasn't gonna have 3D touch and it doesn't, but still, it's sad. I love 3D touch and I use it all the time. The solo camera on the back is a 12 megapixel wide angle sensor with optic image stabilization and a lot of the other solid features that the XS has. It's definitely a nice camera to have on even a non-budget phone. So you get all of the cool software-based features that you get on the iPhone XS as well, which is really, really nice. Battery life is solid as well, getting an hour and a half more than the iPhone 8 Plus. And now let's talk about the pricing. And once again, the rumor suggested somewhere between $699 and $799, and the rumors nailed it. So the iPhone XR will start at $749 for the 64 gigabyte variant, $799 for 128, and $899 for 256. And let me just say, with these prices, I can see this phone being very, very popular, especially the 128 gig variant. The iPhone XR is available for pre-order on October 19th, and it will go on sale on October 26th. So you will have to wait a little bit longer for the iPhone XR, similar to the iPhone X last year after the iPhone 8 got announced. So now that you've heard all the details, which iPhone is right for you? Which one should you buy? So the main differences between the iPhone XS and the XR are colors, pricing, display, camera, and water resistance. I would say those are the 5 main differences between these models. The battery life is going to be great on all of them, so I would not consider that a main factor to consider when purchasing. Now, there are obviously a lot of variables that go into a purchasing decision for a new iPhone, but let's start with the basics. The phone that you currently have should play a major role in which iPhone you're thinking about getting this year. And I'd say if you have an iPhone X, there's really no point at all in updating to an iPhone XS, a XS Max, or even a XR. That is, unless you just have the money and you just want to have the newest iPhone, but other than that, it doesn't really make much sense. Especially since the iPhone X may not be getting sold by Apple any longer. You never know, in 10 years that phone could be worth a good amount of money. Now if you have an iPhone 8 or older, you should definitely consider updating to any of these phones because they're going to be faster, they're going to have some of the more modern features, and it's been a couple years since you've updated, so you're now in that mode to start looking for a new device. So if you're on a budget, the iPhone XR is definitely a clear-cut, obvious choice for you. If you're on a budget, nothing beats the iPhone XR. It's a premium feel, it's a premium look for a budget price. And you get the bonus of picking really any color you want, which is awesome. And it's not gonna look cheap like the iPhone 5C did back in the day. Now, if you're looking to sell your iPhone 7 or your iPhone 8 and purchase one of the new phones, I would go for the iPhone XS Max. And the reason I say the XS Max is because it's only $100 more for a bigger display and a better battery. And of course, that only hinges on the fact that you like big displays. If you don't like big displays, definitely go for the XS. And really what it's gonna come down to is what's most important to you. Is that the cost? Is that the camera? Is that the color? Is that the display? Obviously, if the cost or the color is most important, you should go for the iPhone XR and not look back. Now, if the camera is most important to you, I would pick up the iPhone XS or the XS Max. Again, it's going to depend on if you like the bigger form factor of the XS Max or you prefer the smaller form factor of the XS. And if you aren't sure, I would go into the store and pick up one of the two, or even just pick up an iPhone 8 Plus, and that will tell you which one you like better. And of course, if the display is the most important to you, pick up the iPhone XS Max. It's going to have the same pixel density as the iPhone XS, but it's going to have a lot more real estate to work with. It's going to be a lot better for playing games. It's going to be a lot better for just overall workability. Multitasking and all that good stuff is going to be a lot better on the Max. So I hope this video helped you figure out which iPhone you should pick up next Friday or in October if you're going for the XR. I really did hope this video helped you out. If it did, make sure to give this video a thumbs up. Also, make sure to subscribe for a lot of coverage on these upcoming iPhones. I will be getting all 3 of them, and I'm going to be doing the comparisons, the speed test, the camera test, all that good stuff. So anyways, guys, thanks again for watching, and I'll see you soon.